Mobile World Congress is almost here, and so is Samsung's Galaxy S9. For Tech Republic and ZDNet, I'm Dan Patterson with Larry Dignan and Jason Heiner. Larry, let's start with you. What can we expect from Mobile World Congress and Samsung?
Well, the big headliner is that, Samsung's going to come out with their S9 and S9 Plus, and a lot's been leaked so far. The dual camera setup for the Plus. There's, faster chip, which is probably the biggest thing, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845. So a lot's been leaked so far. What's interesting about it to me, though, is just the, I just got the Galaxy Note 8. It's new as of August. And that was the flagship, but now we have a new flagship basically a few months later. And the cadence from Samsung, while there's probably some method to the madness, I find it a little confusing because they almost have dueling flagships. It's like a battle of plus size phones within their own house. So it's kind of a weird setup for me.
It does feel like the Note 8 is still the flagship too, because it's got the pen functionality. It's already got the two cameras. Obviously, the two cameras in the S9 Plus, are probably going to be slightly revved, higher. The processing is a little stronger, with the S9. But it is confusing, Larry. You start to wonder, I know you've said before, shouldn't we just take that Note and then move the cadence so that it comes out, release the S9 and then the Note 9, right? That would make a lot more sense versus this 9 Plus versus the Note 8 where, which one's really the flagship.
Yeah, and if you're a business user, I know the Note 8 is the Note is kind of positioned as the professional enterprise device or pro device, whatever. But really the only distinction between that and the S9 Plus is basically the pen, which for me, that matters, right? Because, I'm one of those freaks that take notes and things. But I don't know if that applies to everybody else. And I don't even know if that applies to, the main difference is the pen, and that somehow translates into business, I guess. It's just a weird cadence, and I almost wish they kind of launched it all at once so you could see the three side by side and kind of know what's what.
Okay, Jason and Larry, let's talk about the S9 versus the competition. How does the device stack up?
I think it'll stack up well. The main thing in the world of Android is that it is the S9 is going to be premium. The S9 Plus is probably going to cost about the same as the Note, generally speaking. It's going to be, near that $1,000 mark. The problem is you have a lot of good phones from the likes of Nokia. You've got everybody's in the Android game. Yeah. And the Android is more pure. So it doesn't have the bloatware that Samsung, can put on there. And they're a lot cheaper. So, you could really get a really, really good phone from Motorola / Lenovo, Huawei, whoever, for $400, which is basically half off what a Samsung will run. And, in the long term, that's a serious consideration for Samsung. That's tough competition. So it's sort of, we all get into the Samsung versus Apple wars, but it's really a battle in the lower end too, because the lower end is getting pretty damn good. It's almost premium.
Yeah, the Samsung matches up really nicely, obviously with the Apple, with the 8 Plus and even the iPhone 10. But like Larry's saying, the real competition is if you're already in one of these ecosystems, you tend to stay, and so. Things like the OnePlus, that their devices are really nice and they're coming in at, $500. The Motorola device is also really strong, still coming in at that lower price point, unlocked. The Huawei, the Mate 10 is really strong device. We have reviews on that from a professional perspective on both ZDNet and Tech Republic. And so, you really are paying, you're paying that premium for the Samsung name. You are getting a few extra things with the Note. Obviously, with the Note 8, you're getting the pen. With the Galaxy S9 Plus, you're not getting that. And so it starts to not look a whole lot different from these other devices, these other flagships. and at a lot bigger price. And that again leads to sort of what Larry and I were talking about, where the Note 8 is really their flagship, and maybe they should just make that and get rid of the Plus.